Greetings and salutations. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Eric Moss. I'm a personal trainer, motivational speaker, and modern-day performing strongman. If you're unfamiliar with what a modern-day performing strongman is I perform feats of strength as part of a live show, sort of like a modern-day version of the sort of thing that the legends of the past, like the Mighty Atom and Alexander Zass would do, but with a modern day twist. Some of the feats of strength that I've performed in front of a live crowd are things like bending steel bars, breaking chains, twisting horseshoes, rolling up frying pans, driving nails through wooden boards by hand, and even holding back a high-performance motorcycle taking off to full throttle. Now, being a modern-day performing strongman and the fact that there's not a whole lot of us around these days, I figured in an effort to grow my channel by giving you guys what you want, as well as spread the gospel on strength and let people know that we are in fact a thing, I started a YouTube series called Ask Eric Moss, where I would invite you to ask me a question by dropping it in the comments below. And when you do that, I get back to you with your very own custom video, just for you. Pretty cool, right? So, this question comes from Veride Soryu Langley. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And they said, "Hi, Eric. Sorry in advance if this question has been asked before. I don't think it hasn't really. I've sort of kind of answered it, but not quite. I'd like to know if you use specific breathing techniques during your training and when performing feats of strength. I remember reading that Bruce Lee used something called the dragon breath to temporarily increase his power. And I also read in a book about isometrics that some people recommend timing isometrics exercises based on controlled inhalation. Basically, they take short sips of air, and with each sip, they tighten the muscles a bit more. The author of the book came from a martial arts background, but I wondered if strongmen also do something similar. Thanks." Thank you for asking that question. And that is a mouthful. There's a lot of actually information within that specific question. So, do I use specific breathing techniques when I'm performing? Yes, I do. When I'm performing, I have a visualization process. And part of it is setting my mind on what it is that I'm doing. So if you look at what a lot of the high performers do, and I'm not talking about just in feats of strength, but in sports in general, probably the most obvious example of this comes from baseball. If you watch them when they are up at bat, every single batter seems to have their own ritual. You know, like if I remember correctly, Derek Jeter would always adjust his gloves between throws. Hideki Matsui, if I remember correctly, always had a thing where he would always go like this. And I don't remember who does this because it's been a while since I've watched it regularly. But he would always point his bat at the pitcher 3 times before doing it. And one of the pieces of advice that I heard from Slim is that you do the thing exactly the same each time. So Slim the Hammerman Farman was a legendary strongman of the past who had performed on stage in front of a sold-out crowd at Madison Square Garden with his mentor, the Mighty Atom, which the Mighty Atom's like mindset is the thing that we all basically try to reverse engineer and learn. So with Slim, what he would do prior to doing his hammer leverage feats is he had a very specific sequence. If there was like a little piece of dust on the mat, he would remove it so as not to distract him. But he would do this whole thing and cover the head of the hammer till it was out of sight, and then he would remove his hand and he would imagine that he's picking up a stick. right? When he would do his chain breaking feat, he would swing the thing exactly 3 times before putting it around. And when I do a nail, it's always like this. Every single time. This keeps it consistent because like there's something that happens subconsciously where after X comes Y, after Y comes Z, right? Now, specifically with the breathing, what I'm doing is I imagine like I'm breathing in positive, crackling energy, and it's fortifying every bit of my being. When I breathe out any kind of negativity and doubt. Breathe in the power, breathe out the doubt. Breathe in the power, breathe out the doubt. Breathe in the power, breathe out the doubt until there's nothing left but the power. And then when it comes time to do that, I'm fully concentrated on the task, fully focused on the task and only the task, only just enough to be able to hear what's going on around me. And each one of these feats has a similar thing. The breathing, for the most part, remains the same, but the sequence of events leading up to it, always the same. Or, I mean, is kind of individual with the feet. You know, like with the wrenches, it's up here. With the nail drive, some of the guys have fire on their boards, and I don't do it that way, partially because in order for me to set my mind on what I'm doing with the board, I have to put it there 3 times. Now, admittedly, I do a bit of showmanship in there as well, but part of that is also to get my mind set on the feat that I do. And also partially it's like when you do it this way each time, you can kind of relax into the process. Now, during training, so if I'm doing isometrics, I don't hold my breath. I mean, I have done that when I was practicing isometrics with the chain, but I passed out, so I don't do it like that anymore. But if I'm doing isometrics with like a steel bar, I will, what Pavel calls breathe behind the shield, where I'm pushing, but I'm still keeping intake and exhalations of air, short sips of air, and spitting out short sips of air, so that I don't run out of air during the duration of the contraction. Trying to think if I missed anything there. Oh, yeah. So if I'm doing isometrics, what I'm also doing is I'm imagining like there's waves where it's like I push harder with each exhalation that's coming in. So if I'm doing like a 12-second contraction, I may have done like 4 separate waves where I'm trying to get stronger each time and push harder each time that I'm doing it. So anyways, I hope that answers your question. If anybody else has any questions or anything like that, or if you need additional information, drop it in the comments below and I'll try to get back to you with your very own custom video. And also, it's like, you know how this YouTube thing works. If you like the video, please let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more of this sort of thing, or you want to see some of the chronicles from my various performances, subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you think anybody should see this, please share it with them. This isn't rocket science. I've also got an exciting announcement in the next couple days, so you're going to want to stick around for that. But in the meantime, please stay happy, healthy, and strong. Eric Moss, over and out.